Am I the asshole that I didn't invite my best friend's kids to our annual beach trip because they, the parents, never clean up after themselves and have two kids that kind of ruin the whole vibe? Now half of the other friends that did get an invite are pissed at me. It's my family's beach house. My parents have a beach house in Florida, and for the past 5 to 6 years I've invited my best friends for a week every summer. It's completely free for them except for splitting food for the house. We take turns going to the grocery. Only one of my friends has kids, but I've invited his whole family every year in the past so his wife and kids don't have to be left out. Well, each year they don't clean up after themselves, they don't put their dishes away after they eat, they are the only ones that track sand in the house, they don't help clean up their rooms or do laundry before they leave, they always have an excuse why they have to get on the road early in the morning. And when it's their turn to go to the grocery they buy the cheapest shit possible like store brand hot dogs and chips. Keep in mind there are 4 of them and they are gladly eating everyone else's food the rest of the week. They let their kids run absolutely wild through the house, and Cheetos and Cheerios are friggin' everywhere like in the cracks of the sofas and chairs, in the bed sheets. It's a friggin' mess. Last year the kids sprayed the hose on all of our cars and it left water spots that still haven't come off. The wife also kind of ruins the whole vibe because she makes us wait to go do things saying things like, "Oh, I just put the kids down for a nap, can you all wait 1 to 2 hours to go out so I can join?" I've slowly but surely gotten sick of it, but a year goes by and I forget how pissed I was each time I re-invite everyone. But this year I texted my friend and told him, hey, thinking it will be a husband/wife thing this year if you all need a break from the kids, was kind of hoping his wife wouldn't be able to make it either honestly. When he's by himself he is way better in all ways. All my other friends and their wives that get an invite help me clean up, they put their dishes away after they eat, they help strip the beds and do laundry before they leave. They also help clean up after this guy's kids before they leave. They are all super appreciative and make me feel like I'd easily invite them again without hesitation. The problem is that now this dude's wife has been side texting the other friends saying I can't afford a nanny for a week and my parents are sick and we don't trust his parents. Guess we just aren't going this year. Now half of my friends are still on my side saying yeah this will be more fun for everyone, while the other half is trying to convince me to let the kids come saying oh man that's just how they are, they don't expect us to clean up when we go out on their boat or visit them. We'll help clean up again. I'm sticking to my guns for now, am I being an awe?
Am I the asshole for adopting a dog after I thought my boyfriend broke up with me? My boyfriend was going through a tough time and he said he needed a break. He said he was going to press pause on our relationship and go visit his family in Washington. I asked how you pause a relationship, because I don't understand how that works. He said he needed some time to work on himself and asked me to respect that. After he left I reached out to him a few times via text asking him to let me know he arrived safe and to say hi to his mom for me. I received no response. I tried to call and left a message asking if he had broken up with me. I came to the conclusion that he'd ghosted me, and my friends agreed. I was bummed, and my best friend recommended I find something like a new hobby or a new show to watch that wouldn't make me think of my boyfriend. I decided to get a dog. My boyfriend is horribly allergic to pet dander, so I never even considered getting a pet. However, since he broke up with me, I decided to get one. He's a senior dog from the shelter that needed rescuing. He's low energy and likes to lay with his head in my lap while I read, work, or watch TV. After 6 weeks away my boyfriend texted me that he was back and coming over tomorrow, which was yesterday, so we could talk. I was shocked and texted him back asking what he was talking about. He said he was back and ready to unpause our relationship. He said he would talk to me about everything the next day. I texted back asking what relationship. He didn't answer. Yesterday he showed up and told me he had done a lot of self-examination and was ready to move forward on his life path. He even wanted to talk about moving in together. Then he saw my dog and started freaking out. He asked me how I could get a dog when I know how sick he gets. I told him that since he broke up with me, I didn't think it mattered. He said he didn't break up with me. I said he ghosted me. He said he communicated with me telling me he was pressing pause and visiting family. I said not answering texts is ghosting. We argued in circles and then he said he had to leave because he was getting an allergic reaction, even though he was standing in the doorway, not inside. I feel like he broke up with me and it was okay that I got a dog. He says that he never did and therefore it's a horrible act of disregard to have gotten a dog. Which of us is right? My best friend said I should break up with him because he's a jerk. I don't think I should have to break up with someone that already broke up with me. If I break up with him, I'm basically agreeing with him that he didn't break up with me and therefore I was an asshole for getting the dog. Right?
Am I the asshole for reporting a crying baby to HR? I am second-guessing my decision to report to HR. There is a person in my building who brings their infant to work with her, and it cries and screams and fusses, as babies do. She does not close her office door but leaves it open like an echo chamber resounding through the halls. It is incredibly difficult to focus on anything at all with a crying baby in your ear. Closing my door helps a bit, but we have a culture of leaving doors open to signal that you're available for an impromptu meeting. I leave mine open about half of the time. I decided today that something's gotta give. I do not know her and we do not work for the same department. I work in an office with a lot of touchy personalities and egos, and I was not confident that I could simply ask her to close her door, without setting off WWI, either with her individually, or between our co-located departments. Instead, I sent a very nicely worded email to HR asking if someone can send her an anonymous request to please kindly keep her door closed while she has her baby with her. I assumed the woman has some kind of reasonable accommodation for having the baby at work, but now I'm second guessing myself. What if she doesn't, and isn't supposed to have the baby with her? Did I just tell on her? I am feeling quite sheepish about it at the moment. Should I have tried to resolve this myself? HR has already responded with an emphatic good job in bringing this to HR, as this is an HR issue, and not something to handle yourself, but I still feel like maybe I'm the a-hole here.
Am I the asshole for cutting off all communication with my in-laws after my 6-year-old? I, 35F, am married to B, 40M, for 12 years. We have 2 children together. My daughter, for at the time, was discovered to have a tumor in her abdomen after experiencing 14 months of intermittent leg pain. The doctors couldn't find the source of the pain until they found the tumor. We were scared for our daughter. I was so afraid, I shut everyone out except my mom and husband. My mom drove 8 hours to support us while they went through the diagnostic process. My husband asked his parents to come to support him. They said no because they had to watch SIL's kids. For context, my in-laws live 5 hours away and SIL lived 25 minutes from me. At this time, doctors believed the tumor was benign, so they scheduled the resection surgery for 2 months later. All summer the in-laws couldn't see our kids because they were always watching SIL's kids since their dad wasn't pulling his weight. Finally, the surgery date came. My mom came again to support us through this huge surgery. The tumor was so large that it took up all of the free space on the right side of her abdomen. The doctor came out of surgery and he told us that he could only remove 60% of the tumor. He believed it looked cancerous, but we had to wait for the pathology report. A few days later, it came back positive for cancer and my daughter had to go through a very intensive treatment plan. She needed 5 rounds of chemo, 2 stem cell rescues and 6 rounds of immunotherapy. My kids were always close to their grandparents. It was hard when we had to isolate ourselves to protect my daughter from getting sick during treatment. She had a central line and all fevers were an automatic trip to the emergency room. My MIL offered to help us once, but she backed out because she couldn't handle wearing a mask for 8 hours while we worked. In efforts to protect my daughter, we asked that when they come to visit, that they only see my kids to prevent SIL's kids from giving grandma and grandpa a virus that they brought back to my daughter. All throughout treatment, my daughter cried that she missed grandma. They decided that if they couldn't see both sets of grandkids, then they didn't want to come. We tried to compromise and asked them to split their visit. First couple days with my sick child and then the last days of their stay to be at my SIL's house. They just chose to stay away instead. During the stem cell rescues, we had to isolate my daughter since they literally fried her bone marrow with chemo. She didn't have an immune system for a few weeks, so it was important to protect her. It was limited to my mom and I throughout the 2 stem cells rescue and transplants. When my daughter finally was able to be around people again, they still didn't come around. My daughter was fine for a few months, but she started having leg pain again. I feared the cancer was back. In November, they found the cancer and it spread everywhere. She was in so much pain. She just wanted to be with family and see her grandma. Grandma only came when her sister wanted to meet my daughter. They saw her for a few days after Christmas. My daughter was rapidly deteriorating and she was in so much pain. The ICU doctor told me my daughter was going to pass away and to let family know. I called all those closest to my daughter to say goodbye. They didn't come. My daughter passed away in January. She fought so hard, but she couldn't beat the cancer. I am hurt and angry with them because they hurt my daughter. She may not have realized that Grandma and Grandpa were not prioritizing their sick grandchild, but I did. She cried so much about missing Grandma. They knew she was sick and she had a high probability of not surviving this. Now 5 months after my daughter's death, my husband wants me to ignore all of that has happened for him and my son. He tried to talk to his parents, but they just got defensive. He wants me to not address any of this with them, so I have chosen to cut them out of my life every way I can. They are not welcome in my home anymore. I will not interfere with the relationship that my husband or son have with them, but I will not do anything to foster it. That's my husband's responsibility to do that. Now my husband is angry with me and feels that I'm being unreasonable. So, am I? Am I the asshole for wanting to move to another country, even if it would mean leaving my mother with Alzheimer's behind? Hi Reddit. I've really enjoyed reading this thread and silently judging people, so I guess it's my turn to be judged now. I, 23F, am trying to move to Europe, starting out by looking to be an au pair so I can legally be in that country while I try to figure out a more permanent situation. However, my mother, 59F, has early onset Alzheimer's, and even though I know I'm worthy of having my own life and old enough to make my own decisions, part of me feels like I would be abandoning her when she needs the support more than ever, so that's where I might be the asshole. Even though I know with the progression of her disease, the person I knew as my mother has been gone for years. She started showing signs that made my sister and me raise an eyebrow when I was around 14 or 15, and was diagnosed just before I turned 19, when she was 55. I try to spend time with her and help with her around the house, but it's so difficult because the mother/daughter relationship has essentially flipped, because her cognitive abilities are so poor. It's also extremely difficult for me to find any meaningful way to spend time or connect with her. I really do try, but it's hard because I'm practically grieving her at the same time, and I want to remember my mom for who she was, and not who the illness reduced her to. I also just want to say that my dad, 57M, is one of the strongest, most hardworking people I've ever met, and he's been an excellent father to my sister and me. So if I'm not the asshole here, then nobody is, except Alzheimer's. Starting next week, we'll finally be getting some professional care for my mom for a few hours a day, but it was extremely difficult to get since we live in the USA, and I'm sure we all know that the healthcare system here is complete garbage. Knowing my dad will have some help, especially from a professional, makes me feel better about wanting to leave. And I know my mother as I knew her would never want to stand in my way of doing something I want so badly, but I still can't help but feel shitty about the idea of leaving her behind. So, am I an asshole for this? Thank you in advance for your judgment and advice. My husband gave me a warning tap and I called it a dash. Am I the asshole? As I am writing this, I am laying in bed with my mom. She's helping me gather my thoughts for some other opinions. I am F24 and my husband is M30. We've been together for 3 years and married for 1. This is a throwaway account just in case. About a week ago my husband and I got into an argument over his phone, which he had misplaced. I was in the shower when he lost it, and when I came out he was throwing a fucking fit over it. He was like, "Where did you put it? Have you seen it?" Angrily yelling and snapping. I said I hadn't touched it and I needed to get dressed. My husband was standing in the doorway looking behind the door so I couldn't open it. I said, "Hello, move please?" Apparently my tone was rude because my husband turned around and shoved me into the room. I was like, okay, you need to calm down, I can help you look, but I gotta get dressed. He tells me to hurry up. I snap back, I'm not gonna hurry up, it isn't my effing fault. My husband turned around and hit me on my mouth with the back of his hand. It didn't even really hurt, but I was appalled. He called it a warning tap because of my attitude. I left right then and there. I called my mom and came over. I haven't left. My brother took me over the next day to get a few things. My husband asked me if all this really necessary, and I said yeah, it is when you have your wife. He was so stricken that I called it a. He screamed at me for it. He said I can ruin his career if I use that word. I know that I can, and I know that he didn't even hurt me, but that's how I feel. He sent me several texts threatening to divorce me if I use that word again, or try to hurt his career by saying it's someone important. Am I the asshole for saying this, potentially citing this, and potentially ruining his career?